Good morning everyone. Today we are in Venlo, which is really close to the German border. And what is there to say about Venlo? It is a city of around 100,000 inhabitants. One year it won the award for Greenest City of Europe, and for 3 years straight it won the award for Best City Center of the Netherlands because of its attractiveness and infrastructure and cultural activities. So it's also known as a shopping city. Many Germans come here to buy stuff, also because of its proximity to Germany. But it was never part of Germany. That's an interesting fact, because first it was a kind of Roman outpost between Maastricht and Xanten. Then it became a trading area. Around the 9th century it was mentioned for the first time in documents, and then later it grew into a city basically, and now it is what it is now. It's in the province of Limburg, and here there's the Limburgs Museum, so the Museum of Limburg, which we are going to visit because we can enter it with the museum card. And we're gonna explore the city center. I actually already know Venlo because I came here very often with my parents, but I never really researched about Venlo in detail. We just came here to buy coffee and drinks because they are cheaper. Now we are next to the Martinuskerk in Gothic style, kind of lower Rhine Gothic. So the church was built in the Gothic style in the 14th century, although before there was a Romanesque church standing here. And the tower with 53 bells is apparently the largest one in Europe. So a very unique church, and but it's not the original tower. It was rebuilt 3 times because there was also an earthquake and other stuff, so they had to rebuild the tower all the time. About the structure of this church: 3 naves with a transept and a crossing, and it's not a Latin cross. So that number 2 that you see there, Bruda, is arguably one of the most famous places here in Venlo. It's basically a shop only for Germans, although anyone can shop there, but it's very famous among Germans and it's always full. Here at the market in Venlo there are many Germans, like you mostly hear German around here. The city center of Venlo. This is how it looks, full of shops. Now we are in front of the town hall. It's a building from the 16th century, I believe, in Renaissance style. A very interesting thing is that the right tower is a bit taller than the left tower. I guess they were missing some money and they didn't build out the left tower more. You can see there are many shops but also cafes here in Venlo. This is near the town hall. You have a Primark and all of these cafes. So it's great for shopping and going out. And now we are walking over the Meuse River, in Dutch Maas. That's why Maastricht is called like that. The place we already visited twice, and there, yeah, is the Maas, the Meuse River. You can see basically Venlo is shops and cafes all around, everywhere. So if you want to buy stuff, you are right. Like if you want to shop around, you are right in Venlo. As kids, we used to come here to the Game Mania with my parents when we came to Venlo, and we bought here our PlayStation 4, many games, and several other things. It was pretty cool in the past. Right now, I don't play so much anymore. And this is the library of Venlo, for anyone who's more interested in reading books while they are here. The library is here on a side street called Begijnengang, just next to a kind of square with a church. We bought a small fly, maybe you know fly from our Maastricht vlog. It's typical from Limburg, from this region. This one is with rice. Doesn't look super tasty, but maybe it is tasty in the end. Well, the small fly was not bad, not good either. I would say average, but yeah, at least it was something. I was very hungry, so I needed to eat something. It's still 11 o'clock, but we thought we might eat lunch earlier, so that we don't eat when everyone eats during lunch rush hour. And then we would go to the Museum of Limburg to explore what we can learn there about Limburg. This is the card. We went to a burger place. I mean the card, the menu, sorry. So as a drink we just got fresh mint tea, and then we ordered a burger with fries. For my wife, gluten-free. So this is where we are. Burgers and beer. So this is how it looks. I got a pulled chicken and my wife got a classic burger with gluten-free bread. So let's enjoy. So this was the price for everything, 32.45. I gave 35 euros in the end as a tip because they were really nice. And the burger was really tasty. Also the fries, they were homemade fries. You can take as much or as little sauce as you want because they just have them in bottles there. So we really recommend this place. It's called Burgers and Beers, really close to the town hall. So it's 12 o'clock and we are now going to the Museum of Limburg to find out more about this province. So this is another museum called Museum Van Bommel, but we're not going there. It's about modern art. If you're interested in that sort of thing, then you can come here. So now we are at the Museum of Limburg. There you can see the flag of Limburg. That's the museum, and it's unmissable. It's next to the central station. And that's the central station. It goes to Nijmegen, Arnhem, many places. The first room shows you the province of Limburg in prehistoric times, basically. You can see those Neanderthals, and yeah, it's basically a room with a landscape and some videos. Let's see if they have some information. So apparently Limburg is the region of the Netherlands with the most archaeological ruins. They are mostly along the Meuse River, and that's why this province also has a lot of expositions about the prehistoric times. So later you can see that the Romans started establishing themselves along the Meuse River, Maas in Dutch, and they built bridges and colonies. In the Middle Ages, Limburg became a place where Christianity was the main religion, and it was not pagan anymore, but they still kept some Merovingian traditions, so pagan traditions, and yeah, the Romans left, so the Vikings came and they started making raids on for example, the Meuse River, the Rhine River, yeah, and other settlements. With the Middle Ages, feudalism also started, so people would work for the nobles, and the nobles in return they would offer protection. The view from the museum. Limburg participated in the 80 Years' War in the times of the Habsburg and the Burgundian dynasties. That's why it says there, Oorlog. It means war. Venlo was besieged several times, just like Maastricht and Valkenburg, also in the south of the Netherlands. But every time they were able to win against the invaders. It was very common that the invaders came from Belgium, from Liège, a city now in the French region of Belgium, and cities had to defend themselves with their own weapons and fire, walls. For example, Valkenburg, once they had to defend themselves from attacks from Belgians, and for that they spent a whole year of the income of the city only in building up defenses. We have a person from the Middle Ages here who I happen to be married to. Interesting feeling. So this is how Venlo looked like in the past. That's the town hall that is illuminated, or was, yeah. And it had several walls and canals to protect itself from invaders. And that's the Meuse. This is a map from the 19th century showing the territory of Limburg. Venlo is here, and down there we have Maastricht. So that's something we didn't know, which is that Limburg initially, when the King William I created the province, it was the province of Limburg in Belgium and this province of the Netherlands together until in 1867 it got separated. So one part went to Belgium and another part stayed in the Netherlands.
Je kunt onze lieve Heer of onze lieve vrouw van alles vragen.
It was a kind of Catholic film exposition about the different saints of Limburg. Limburg up to the year 1900 was a kind of province of farmers, but then they opened mines and that changed the economy of Limburg forever until they closed the mines. So this is supposed to represent the typical room of a miner, a mine worker. There's many Catholic symbols, so the living room of a mine worker. So one thing that might be interesting to know, well, two things. One is that Limburg has its own dialect. You can see there on the sign for Roermond, they call it Roermunch. And also another thing is that 15% of the population of Limburg is made of foreigners, mostly Germans, Belgians, and then other regions such as Dutch, India, so Indonesia and so on, Morocco, etc. So we are learning here that the Romans had their northern border at the Rhine. They called it limes because that's what border is in Latin. And Dutch provinces, mostly the south, and also part of Germany, were part of Rome, of the Roman Empire. They used to have villas in the south of the Netherlands, some of them, for example, in Heerlen. The Villa Voerendaal is still, you can still visit it. It's one of the biggest ones, and in those villas what they used to do is slaves and people working on the field together with the richer families would live there all together and share all of the food that they would produce. So that's more or less how they survived. And then around the 3rd century after Christ, the Roman Empire of the West collapsed, not yet of the East, so Constantinople. So all of those traditions and villas disappeared, and they started becoming more like independent villages. So we are done with the museum. Now we are going back to the car, and then we'll see, maybe we just go home. There's quite some traffic. Let's hope that we don't catch any traffic or little traffic when going home. Well, I found Venlo to be better than what I knew about Venlo, so the kind of shopping city that I had in mind. The second part was better, so after lunch with the museum and exploring more historical places. But of course, if you are the kind of person who prefers to shop and to do other things, then the first part might rather be what you enjoy. So when we were looking at shops and places where you can buy stuff or have leisure activities. Yeah, did you also like the second part more?
Yes.
Yes, that's nice. Okay, so and we do find Limburg a beautiful province, yeah, with nice friendly people. Yeah, it's really worth a visit. I think we're already saying goodbye. See you on the next vlog during the next capital or yeah, city video, whatever. Bye.